IVM.
Folks, welcome to Paisa Vaisa. I'm your host Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter, and my guest today is Ashish Singhal, founder and CEO at CoinSwitch. Yes, this is another episode that we're doing on crypto. I think we need to talk about alternate assets. Also, we do a lot of stuff on mutual funds, stocks, and investments and loans. Crypto probably doesn't get the kind of space it does. Of course, we had covered crypto in depth back in 2017 when the boom was happening, and I think some of that boom is probably back. And to walk us through what exactly has changed, like I said, Ashish Singhal, founder and CEO at CoinSwitch. So Ashish, welcome to Paisa Vaisa. Thank you so much for doing this for us. From your background, you can see that you've worked, at Amazon, Microsoft, and you're a hacker. You've taken part and probably won a lot of hackathons. So what is this link? How does one go from Amazon, Microsoft, hacking into the world of crypto? Walk us through that.
Hey Anupam, thanks for inviting me first. So let me give you a little brief on my background, and probably it would be clear why I am in crypto today, right?
Yeah, please.
So I am a computer science engineer from background, so always loved building products. And that's why I've worked at Amazon, Microsoft, leading a lot of their product and tech teams. I personally built Amazon's backend engine, which handles hundreds of thousands of transactions a second. I was also the lead architect for Prime Now, which is their 1-hour delivery service, which got launched in New York. And then now it's present in over 10 countries, including India, right? So I always loved building products. And that's what my fascination with crypto came from. As a hacker, I've built products in various hackathons. I've won almost all major hackathons in India, including Sequoia Hack, Google Code for India,
Wow.
LinkedIn Hack, and my solutions have been taken by big firms and have been implemented in their companies, right? And once so during my hacking days, once I read about Bitcoin and read the Bitcoin
Sure.
white paper, it clearly opened my mind. I was too fascinated. The finance field for all of us has been like a closed box, right? There were so many things that you cannot innovate upon. But with Bitcoin and the protocol coming into picture, it opened up the financial ecosystem altogether and give people like us, developers, a way to build financial services which are decentralized and which can benefit the masses, right? Without the restriction of being tied down to a local sit, right? So that's where my fascination in crypto comes from, by being a builder, right? I always love building products, and Bitcoin has given me the opportunity to impact the masses, to build a new financial ecosystem and be the part of the revolution. So that's what excites me towards crypto, and that's what has fascinated me to be working in crypto for the last 3 years.
So crypto in the last 3 years has been very exciting, probably a bit like your career and your hacking. So first, let's take this backward, okay? Let's start from this year. What changed in the Supreme Court verdict on March 2020? What exactly happened?
So on March 2020, Supreme Court overruled the RBI ruling, which was that any financial institution regulated by RBI cannot deal with entities dealing with crypto, or even people who are trading with crypto. So what we were seeing earlier from 2018 till 2020 is that banks refuse to work with crypto companies. Banks refuse to give bank accounts to people who were trying to trade crypto or be part of the crypto, right? So it created a lot of uncertainty in people's mind. That is it legal, is it illegal? But it was not about the legality. The RBI the restriction was not about legality. It was about restricting the growth of it, right? And after the 22 verdict, even RBI in the further RTI has said that now banks can provide bank accounts to traders and crypto companies. We have seen a tremendous growth in India, right? Because that uncertainty which people used to have or traders used to have has been lifted by the Supreme Court, right? So now they feel more open and more free whenever they are trading crypto, right? And so we have seen almost 400% growth since March in terms of the number of users coming to our platform from India and trading cryptocurrencies, right? So that clearly signifies the appetite that the Indian had and why it was suppressed before. And after the Supreme Court verdict, we are seeing amazing growth of crypto in India.
Yeah, I have to ask you, right? Because in stocks, brokerages have had a rocking first quarter, April, May, June of this year. All the data shows that people in the lockdown just turned to trading in stocks and whatnot. So anything similar for crypto?
Exactly. So, being COVID situation, when the markets are the institutions are in turmoil, be it mutual funds, be it stocks, people are looking at an alternate way to hedge their bets in the market, right? And crypto provides the biggest hedge that they can have, right? So, we are seeing a lot of new traders as well as old traders putting in more money in the market because they are trusting less the other markets, right? So the growth in crypto is obviously first fueled by clarity in regulation. Second, it is fueled by the turmoil in the market which we are seeing today.
Okay, so as things stand now, I can easily go over to CoinSwitch and open an account and link my bank and do everything that I used to do back in 2017. Let's say that I'm someone who actually was into crypto 3 years ago. So as per you, I can do that today also.
You can do that today as well. The only uncertainty that comes is that there are no regulations. So if you go to, say, a stock exchange, say Zerodha for matters, right? So Zerodha provides you user protection guidelines, which are laid out by SEBI, right? So as a user, you always feel empowered and you always feel, your funds are always protected, right? Those guidelines doesn't exist in the crypto ecosystem.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that your money is at risk. It means that the companies which are operating in this field are self-regulating. There is no external entity which has laid out a set of rules to protect
self-regulated,
right? Yeah. And that is very important. Yeah. So today you obviously can do the same things which you were doing 2017 in the same regulatory environment which it was in 2017. Nothing has changed between 2017 and today. But going forward, we expect more user protection to come into this field to give you more comfort to start trading crypto.
That was actually, I was going to lead on to my next question when you were saying that, because there is no SEBI for crypto as of now. So, like you said, there's no regulatory support. There's no probably institutional support is probably there because you've got an exchange in which I can deal with. Obviously, if anything goes wrong, God forbid, of course, then I'm kind of left high and dry. And that's what I want to talk about. I don't know what the government is thinking about crypto. Okay, whether it's in India, whether it is globally, I've not really been very tuned on to the news flow on that. I'm sure you have. Walk us through this part, because there was some press article from June that was saying that the government is actually planning a law that will outright ban crypto. So, what's your take on this? Probably from an India perspective, are there any lessons for us from a global perspective?
So, first, addressing that ban news. So, that was an old submission of a law which was submitted by previous financial secretary and in 2017, February 2017. Since the draft was submitted, it was bound to be heard by the government. It doesn't mean that they are outright banning it, right? We now have a new financial secretary who would put his own views into it. And we believe that after the Supreme Court verdict, government is looking positively towards the crypto regulations rather than outright banning it. Because government has seen how crypto has contributed to the economy and the GDP of various countries like US, like South Korea, right? Where instead of banning crypto, they have regulated crypto, right? Crypto in India is very, very, very small, right? So the first instinct of any government entity is not to spend too much time on it, but protect user. How they do that is by maybe banning that industry, right? But if you look a little further, right, next 4 to 5 years, we can see that the crypto would create an impact which would start impacting in a major way to the economy and the GDP, like it has done in US, in South Korea, in many other countries, right, which has embraced crypto, right? So I believe that government is taking a note of that by looking at other countries, and instead of simply banning it, they would come out with a set of regulations to actually protect users. And that is very, very important, right? When the users feel empowered, the industry will flourish, right? So that's my that's kind of where we are today. Obviously, there is no clarity from the government, but looking at how other countries have done it and have seen a major impact, the Indian government, in my opinion, and after talking to various government bodies, is now looking forward to regulations rather than ban.
Okay, so I want you to tell us what are the regulatory black holes as of now, areas which are not specifically addressed that you would also like to be addressed, so that our listeners know, okay, bhai, these are where the risks are. So tell us about that.
Sure. So let's compare our industry to stock market or mutual funds, right? So first thing that needs to happen from the government side is protecting user fund, right? Whenever a person is depositing money with a crypto company, and in order to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, that funds needs to be secured, like we have seen in industries like mutual funds and stocks, right? That's the basic that needs to happen. But crypto obviously is a little complex than stocks and mutual funds. So it has to be a phased approach. First phase should be about protecting user funds. Second phase should be about addressing which currencies are out there. How do we segregate these currencies as risky or as as decentralized and as utilities for people to be able to get involved with those, right? So and eliminating any fraud or any kind of wrong activity in this domain, right? So again, so it's a two-part effort that needs to happen from the government. First, protecting the user funds, similar to how we have in mutual funds and stocks. And second, classifying assets into different categories, making sure that user is aware of the risk whenever he's investing in those assets in under a crypto exchange.
Fantastic. So, folks, you know where exactly the regulatory risk lies, and that on that note, this is a wrap on the first part of this episode of Paisa Vaisa. My guest today is Ashish Singhal, founder and CEO at CoinSwitch. On the other side, we'll be talking about CoinSwitch. All the questions that you wanted to have answered on how you can trade in crypto, what all you can do, outlook on the prices, and a whole lot of other stuff coming to you on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's been a really fun week this week, as it is almost every week, but this week was particularly fun. Parmesh Shahani was on Cyrus Says, great conversation over there. We had a crossover event. Vineet Kanabar, host of the Storytellers and Storytellers podcast, came on Uncle Please Sit. Really interesting conversation about the future of digital content. Besides that, it was the 50th episode this week of Agla Station Adulthood. Congratulations to Ritasha and Ayushi. But yeah, they're 50 episodes down. They had Rekha Jha as the guest on that show. On Advertising is Dead, Varun had the founders of Foxy Moron, Suvir Bajaj and Pratik Gupta on. Another really interesting conversation. So full of interesting conversations this week. But with that, let's get you back to your show.
And welcome back to this episode of Paisa Vaisa. My guest today, Ashish Singhal, founder and CEO at CoinSwitch. Ashish, welcome back. Now let's talk about CoinSwitch. Okay, you've got this very interesting product called CoinSwitch Kuber, which is named after the Indian god of, wealth. So talk to us, what exactly is CoinSwitch? What exactly is CoinSwitch Kuber? What do you guys do? What do you offer?
Sure. So CoinSwitch started as a crypto aggregator. So like you book, flights on Make My Trip, where you get all the information of all various flights available and what is the price of that. And as a user, it's very easy for you to choose the cheapest or the best route for you. In cryptocurrency, we've solved a similar problem by aggregating liquidity of different exchanges and let user figure out what is the best price on different exchanges to convert one crypto to another, right? From day one, we were a global exchange, focusing not on India, but in the global market. Why not in India is simply because the regulatory framework was not that clear when we launched in India, right? Currently, we are present in 160 plus countries, doing hundreds of millions of dollars in GMV per month, right? And after the ban got lifted in March, we decided to enter back in India with a product which is focused on simplicity, providing simplicity to the users, crypto users, right? Currently, if you look into the market, there are a lot of exchanges out there which are really good exchanges, but for a retail user, for a new user, it becomes really a daunting task to acquire, to learn that much to start onboarding onto crypto. So what we are solving in crypto with CoinSwitch Kuber is to provide simplicity to the user, that similar to how you order food online with Swiggy, or how you buy something from Amazon, you should be able to buy crypto like that with a single click, right? So that's what CoinSwitch Kuber is, letting you buy hundreds of crypto with ease, right, with a single click. And that's what we are focusing on. We launched a month back and have been growing tremendously since then, and looking forward to revolutionizing crypto in India for the masses.
Great. So talk to us about one thing, Ashish. What has changed, between 2017 and 2020 in terms of trading in crypto? What exactly is different this time around that was not there in 2017? Anything at all?
Sure. So 2017 was an outlier year. I think you would know that as well. So prices were just crazy, and people were not coming in because they were excited about crypto. They were excited about what is happening with the crypto prices, right? They wanted to take advantage of that and gain in that growing market, right? But since 2017, the market has matured a lot, right? So there are price movements, still market fluctuates a lot, but the fluctuations are less, and it has been constantly growing. Why it is growing? Because cryptocurrencies by nature are limited in supply, right? And since more and more people are coming in, the demand for these currencies are increasing, which is positively impacting the market and the price of these currencies. So we are not seeing sharp growths like we have seen in 2017, but we are seeing gradual growth in the price and the adoption of the currencies. So this is what I would say has changed between 2017 and today.
Okay. Now I've got a very basic question. Maybe there are listeners out there who weren't into crypto in 2017. I know that was a wild year, absolutely wild year. The prices are all there for people to check. 2018 was a crash, 2019 pata nahi kya hua, and 2020 again crypto is back. So I want to understand how should me or an investor or a trader, whoever, look at crypto as an asset class, right? Because I can't use it for any transaction. So it's not like cash. So what do I do with it? Do I hold it like I hold gold? Because gold is also something that we don't sell, but at least gold is some kind of measure of value. Or maybe like equity shares. Equity shares is also something that we buy, sell, but we don't really use it. So it's an investment, or you trade it, or like mutual funds. So what should be the approach towards crypto as an asset in your view?
Sure. So currently, crypto obviously is not getting used a lot. There are many applications where you can use these crypto to pay just like money. So currently, crypto holds as an investment entity, right? Think of it like an alternate finance ecosystem where you can hedge your bets in whatever happening in the stock and mutual fund market, right? So treat it like an investment, treat it like maybe gold, or I would better put it in like stocks, right?
Okay.
And entering into crypto is risky as well, because obviously the market is not regulated and there are fluctuations in the market. But if you look at the overall a little longer long-term horizon in crypto, then the outlook seems very positive, because there's a lot of demand which is out there. Being of limited supply, it has to positively or gradually grow in the right direction, right? So once you know the basic fundamentals of crypto, obviously not how crypto works, but what crypto is to you, and you should be able to start investing some amount of your money into crypto and see it like any other investment, like a stock itself, right? And how does a stock do well? When the product of that company is being used by the masses, right? And it gradually grows. Similarly, when the Bitcoin adoption starts to boom, you would see changes in the prices, right? Coming to what currency you should invest in. So there are different currencies out there with different use cases altogether, and with different brilliant teams behind them, right? So if you are a newbie in crypto, I would say, this is obviously just my advice, but obviously stick to the top ones, stick to the probably top 5 cryptos, and don't go out of the way to invest in other cryptos, because those would be a little riskier, right?
Which are these top 5 just for the...
So these top 5 you can pick from CoinMarketCap with the top volume, which is today is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, or so fifth one could be say Link, or say any other currency.
But the number one is Bitcoin. That is there.
Number one is Bitcoin. Yes. So
what would be the difference between the number one and the number two, just for me to understand this?
So number one and number two are differentiated in terms of their principles and what they try to solve. Right. So let's take a difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is number one and number two respectively. So Bitcoin is more about replacing cash, is more about acting as a currency. Ethereum is more about acting as a platform where people can build not just financial services, but any decentralized service that they want to. So today they want to build a decentralized insurance. They can use Ethereum to build that, right? So Ethereum is meant for development, and Bitcoin is meant for used as a currency, right? So that's the difference in the principles. And if you go down in the list, you would find that different currencies serve different purposes, right? And when they serve different purposes, their growth is differentiated, because it depends on what purpose they serve, how big of a problem that they solve, and what is the adoption for them, right? So that's how the price is impacted for these different currencies, right? But top 5 are relatively stable. I would say relatively, because still there is a lot of volatility in the market, but they are relatively stable currencies. And as a newbie, you can take advantage of that and start investing in it, see how the market is behaving, and get used to it. Once you are used to it, then you should explore different, probably top 20 or top 50 currencies, which basically solves different use cases, and you can read what use cases they solve, why would they succeed in the future, why one currency versus other would succeed, right? Like you do it in stock, right? I would simply compare it with stocks. How you invest in stocks, you can compare in a similar way all the cryptocurrencies, because everyone is trying to solve a different problem. Some of them are trying to solve the same problem together, similar to stocks as well, similar to two companies solving the same problem. But if you look at their fundamentals, you look at their team, look at their deliveries, look at their partnerships, you would be able to differentiate a good versus a bad investment, right? And similar to stock, you should be able to take a call very easily on that.
There's no Nifty for crypto, right? One index that I can say, ye upar ja raha, ye niche aa raha, that's still not there, or is there actually an index?
There are indexes, so people have created. They're obviously not a defined index like Nifty, because that is defined by the government. But being a decentralized crypto being decentralized, there is no standard that people follow. So what I said, like the top 5 currencies. So sometimes people equate that as say Nifty index or S&P 50. Right? Because those are the stable currencies where people can see how the market is moving. Because market movement is still dependent on still top 5, top 10 currencies, because most of the volume lies with them. Right? So you plot that, and then you go on whenever you're evaluating different currencies, you can plot that against the top 10 currencies and see how the growth has been for that currency to get a little more insight. But obviously there are no current standards that you can follow, similar to stocks.
Because I was going to that was going to lead me to the last question on this show, which is the favorite question of anybody in the stock markets. Kya lagta hai? As in, what's your basic outlook on crypto as an asset class? Okay,
sure.
And within that, do you have a point of view or an outlook on the specific cryptos out there? Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's whatever. You just want to leave our listeners on this note in general, because I'm thinking that if this gets organized, if this gets institutionalized, if this gets formalized, in at least a country like India, where at least there are quite a few of us that are of a risk-taking appetite, as we saw back in 2017, this could actually become a big thing. The only issue that I have, and which you already explained in a lot of depth in the first half, is this regulation thing. I hope that over the longer term, a new asset class is created and therefore also regulated, because there can be nothing more important than the safety of an investor who's going into this. And right now there isn't. So Let's wrap up this episode on your take on all of this regulatory thing, where you see it going. Will this actually gain?
Sure.
Is there a chance that I can, who knows, maybe buy on Amazon using crypto? And your outlook in general for each and every, or at least for the major ones like a Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Sure.
Let's wrap up on that note.
Sure. So to start there, obviously, first I don't comment on price, and people should do their own research. And this is has
past
been
performance
the
is not indicate.
Yes,
past performance does not indicate as per future. Okay,
yes, exactly. But there are few things which people can take in mind, right? When they're investing in an industry which is still maturing, first they need to look at is obviously their money. Is their money protected, right? So the regulations need to come out. The the advancement in the framework needs to happen, making sure that their invested money is secure. Once that starts to happen, we would see a lot of people coming into the market. And since the supply of crypto is limited, with higher demand, chances are that the price it's going to reflect in the price, similar to how it reflects in the price of a stock or a mutual fund, right? When the demand is higher, and supply is limited, the price it reflects directly in the price of that currency or that stock, right? And that will also be the sign of maturity in the market, right? So there might be a correction in the price for a lot of currencies. Some currencies may be overvalued at this point. Some currencies may be undervalued at this point, and the price correction would start to happen, right? But once this industry starts to grow and establish itself as a new asset class, I would say that the opportunities are endless there, right? Why do I say that? As by looking at data, right? Currently, crypto, maybe the total volume at this point is about $250 billion. Stocks are traded in about 10 times or even 100 times that value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of growth in this segment. Obviously, this is a very, this segment hasn't matured that much at this point. A lot of maturity needs to happen in this market to be able to reach to a status we should be able to compare it with stocks. But over time, once the right steps are taken to grow this industry, I particularly, because I've been in crypto, I see it as be someday comparable to the stock market, right? And which would directly reflect in first the growth of this market and the price of different currencies, reflecting or be compared to that of stocks. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I would be thrilled myself if you have a new asset class creation, because by God, it would be a great avenue for diversification itself. Yeah, the kind of stuff that we invest in these days, and you know that India has got this thing with real estate and gold and whatnot. That thankfully has changed over the years, and now
it just gives an alternate financial ecosystem for people to hedge their bets on. Right, everything currently is in turmoil. So it just gives the comfort that being a global impacted market, people are investing not just what is happening in India, but what is happening worldwide, right? So it's not going to be an Indian asset, but it's going to be a world asset where people can take advantage and invest as other people in the other countries are investing in.
Yeah, so what's the global scene like out here right now? Because my guess is that if this gets formalized even in the US, where I think there is still some amount of gray areas out there, VC money would just flow into startups out there. Yeah? What's the scene in the US?
So in the US, it's still much better than India. So there are licenses for crypto companies. There are set of regulations that crypto companies have to follow for user protection, for user fund protection. So which gives users a lot of confidence to start investing in these companies, right? Why you haven't seen a lot of companies of crypto in the US is the reason that they vet the companies who are coming into crypto a lot, right? Why Coinbase holds 80% of the market share is because they have shown consistent, user protection and consistent openness in the system, and be able to acquire licenses from different states and able to operate their business there, right? In India, today, anyone can start a crypto company, which is obviously not a bad thing. But for a user, it becomes, where do I invest? what is this company following? How is my money protected, right? So these questions still remain unanswered, which creates kind of a risk in users' head, right? So which needs to be addressed if we need to go the route of the US. So the user protection should be the top priority of the government.
Yeah, because I don't know, the thing is that without any regulator, without anyone backing this, it's all dependent on the company who I am going with, because
Yes.
I have to link my bank account to your app. That's the only way that I can buy Bitcoin. Am I right in that?
Yes. So you can obviously change. So this is same as stock, right? Because everyone currently is following the regulations laid out for stock brokerage, right?
Okay.
Where you link your bank account from which you buy and sell, so that it can be reported against your PAN card, right? To pay taxes and all those things. Obviously, currently, crypto companies do not have a framework to report the gains or losses to the government, but we follow the same methods that one day, once the regulations comes out, the crypto companies or crypto asset class as a whole should be able to do exactly what stock brokers are doing today.
Okay. And let's hope that happens in the future, folks, that you have a new asset class to invest in and there is a robust infrastructure of regulation and law to control it. On that note, on that positive note, that is a wrap on this episode of Paisa Vaisa. My guest, Ashish Singhal, founder and CEO at CoinSwitch. Ashish, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Anupam. Thanks for inviting me.
And listeners, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I'm B50 on Twitter. Thank you so much for listening to Paisa Vaisa.
No material on the show should be considered as financial advice. The material on the show is for informational purposes only. Please consult a financial advisor before taking any investment decision.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidayal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink, because this round is on me.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.